This sale preview is brought to you by BreedUp. BreedUp is a revolutionary new software that seamlessly tracks all of your most important advanced repro events, including time of heat, protocol management, breeding times, mating performance, and so much more. If you are using ET, IVF, or even AI in your herd, it is more important than ever to know what creates more pregnancies, and BreedUp's on-demand data and analytics deliver just that. BreedUp is mobile friendly and is compatible with your smartphone, tablet, or desktop computer. Sign up for Breeding Intelligence at breed-up.com and check out many of its features at youtube.com/@breed-up. Well, Adam, quick turnaround. Welcome back. Thanks for wearing the sweet shirt today. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ferris.
And you have a sale, another sale coming up, a small but mighty sale. 9 heads, some semen lots on Saturday, April 4th on SC Online Sales. You're from Wichita Falls, Texas, but really just outside Burke Burnett. You're a man of many talents, and you continue to surprise me all the time. For those that tuned in last time, just a few weeks ago, you gave us a very extensive recount of your ranch history, how you guys operate, some of the goals you're doing. We're not going to dig back into that today. We're actually going to link that spot and that episode back in the description here. So if today is your first time meeting Adam, if this is the first episode you've turned in, you didn't hear the last one, I'd highly suggest you go back and check that one out and learn more about him in that sense of his ranch history. But we're going to cover some new stuff today in addition to the cows. You went to your first show with your youngest boy, your youngest child, your son Angler, this weekend. Tell us about that experience. You have an older daughter, Addie. She's been aged out for a few years, so you're kind of starting over again. Tell us what
Yeah,
it was.
so we actually, Angler's 9 in the 4th grade. This could have been, this past year could have been his second year to show. We actually had a calf on feed the first year of eligibility. He was a gill shot mini that we got from Cromwell, just kind of a skinny doggy one that would come lick you in the pen. Showed him twice. Everything was going pretty good. And the calf kind of took a attitude turn and got to where he wanted to fight everybody, including Angler. And it kind of ruined it for a little bit, pushed him out of the barn, and just kind of opened our eyes to like, hey, this don't need to happen. And then last year, give him a calf, and he kind of was like, yeah, I want to, and then just backed off of it. And so to me, it was always like, hey, if he wants to do it, we'll do it. I'm not going to force it. I've seen too many train wrecks and families that forced it. And this year on his own, my aunt just lives just literally across the pasture from us, and we do the Herefords there in her place. And Angler likes staying the night over there. They all get along real good. And he was over there when Tag 109 was born, and he come home. They did a little photo shoot, and he's like, Dad, I'm showing 109. And I just kind of honestly blew it off and asked about Christmas. It was like, hey, you still showing that calf? Yeah, I told you I was. And then when it was time that we weaned the cattle and brought them to the house, I kind of had a talk with him. I was like, hey, you need to, let me know if you're really thinking about doing this, because it's time to sell them. He's like, hey, I already told you, I'm showing the calf. All right, cool, man, let's do this. And so we just kind of talked about it as a family, and told him, hey, if we're going to make a commitment, there's no backing out. We're going to commit to this, and we're going to give it, our best job, and we're going to make it fun. And we got home from Fort Worth, and just recapping, kind of Fort Worth and just all the families and the successes, and kind of still on the high. And he come in there one morning. I was doing my daily reading early in the morning. He gets up early, and he comes sat with me on the couch, and he was like, hey, I got a question. And I was like, oh, here we go. He's like, don't be mad at me. I was like, all right, bud, what's up? And I thought for sure it was going to be, I don't want to do it. And he said, can I have 2 of them? And I just was like, oh, okay. So I'm trying to make this as fast as possible, but I took a pen of 4 of them Herefords, put them in a pen. I said, you pick. What you go pick. And he's like, well, at 109, that is my baby. And I said, will you pick a second one? I like them all. You pick whatever one you want to pick. And he goes and picks 152. And we started our journey. And he's really been excited about it. He's really taken to it. He's kind of had him a little daily routine, and we kind of talked about expectations. And we got home from Houston, and we was gone for a week. And while we were gone, he made the comment a couple of times, "Man, I'm really ready to get back to my Herefords." Okay, and I just kind of spouted off. I was like, "Hey, we ought to find a show to go to this weekend and go to a show." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." So I got on the internet and dug up a show. It's about a 3 hour drive, and I said, "Okay, well let's get ready." Well, he 109. He started working with him pretty good. 152. He's still a little bit of drama, real gentle, but he was like, "Hey, I just want to show 109." I said, "That's fine, but we're going to take 152. He needs to get out too." Okay, so he put in. I mean, he didn't miss a day. Friday, we didn't end up showing because the wind was blowing about 50 and it was miserable, and we just made a decision. Hey, it's probably not going to go real good. It really worked out perfect. The show, they do heifers and then steer. There was about a 3 hour drive, and it said steers just had to be checked in by 2 p.m. So we didn't even leave here till 10. We got up and washed them here, and it was a magical first experience. Show up, and it was only about 40 head, and he probably had the smallest calf at the whole show, and goes in the first ring and has a breed champion and gets him a buckle, and he was hooked from that point. And anyways, winds up, he kind of went both rings and got him a few prizes. And calf was a typical Hereford, but he knew what was going on. And that, of course, as a show dad, it doesn't matter what they do, you're proud of them, and that's all he really wanted. And he was working on me prior to leaving. He was like, "Now, Dad, we ain't going to win. We're just going to have fun." Oh, Al, man, I want to have fun. And then he ends up winning a bunch of stuff. And after the second ring, he was like, "Hey, are we done?" Because it was kind of fast paced with not many head there. We never went back to the stall. There wasn't an opportunity to go back to the stall. And they did some divisions in the second ring, and then was waiting for the overall in the first ring. And he was like, "Hey, what happens now?" And I said, "Well, you've got to go back to the first ring for the overall." And he's like, "Do we have to do that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, you stay to the end, buddy. You never know what's going to happen." And he kind of was like, I'm just kind of ready to go." And I was like, "No, we'll walk back to the stall for a second, go get you a drink." And I said, "Then we'll head up there for the overall." And he ends up being reserve grand of the show. And we get in the truck, and I said, "Hey, that winning's kind of fun, ain't it?" And he was just like, "Yeah." I said, "You set the bar a little high on this first one." He's like, "It'll be all right." So yeah, it was a magical outing. I didn't know, just being honest, if I was ready to come out of retirement and being show dad, but Kara's on board, and I'm fired up, and Angler's fired up. So yeah, here we are back in the scene. So we're excited.
I'd have to imagine that there's definitely a shift going from Addie, right, which was competing at a crazy high level, like a senior for, or I mean, the back half of her career, she got along real well and ultra competitive. And then, we all mature, or we hopefully mature as humans and fathers and stuff. And now that you're starting from a dramatically different point in a career, right? It just seems like such an adjustment to me.
100% correct there, Ferris. Just we probably had more focus Friday on what snacks and drinks we were taking than how well our calf looked. And I was totally fine with it because snacks are important to me too. So yeah, yeah, whole different ball game.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I want to double click on something you said though that I think is important, and I wish more of my customers did, which is you told the story about how you had the four calves in there in the pen, and you encouraged Dangler to go pick. Obviously, you already had one picked, but hey, go get one of the remaining three. I feel like the quality is all the same. And you kind of after that talked about how much he enjoys going out and working with the calves, and he has some ownership of the calves. And I've seen many times where a lot of times the kid isn't really involved at all in that decision making process, right? Like maybe you've had this too. You've been doing this a long time where the parent will come and they'll ask me which ones, just like pick your favorite. Which one's your favorite? But at the end of the day, for this all to work and the way it's supposed to be, is the kid is supposed to want to go out there and work on their calf. And I think by letting them have some involvement in the process of, hey, which one do I actually want to wake up every morning or a couple times, go brush and feed and be excited about doing this? same reason that you and I probably started doing this, right? Is like you're excited to go to the barn, you're excited to work on the calf. It's not because some calf just showed up. It was like, no, like that's the one we want to work on. And I think I really appreciate that you went through that process because I think it's something that gets overlooked a lot of times. And that actually, I think, is actually probably a recipe for success and enjoyment, both combined. Is hey, we will actually work harder on the ones we want to work on, and everyone likes it more because we actually want to go work on this calf. Like the kid wants to go do it with us.
Oh, you're 100% correct. And I mean, being so blessed and fortunate to be in the position that we're in as a show parent, that this is how we make our living. So he had, an ample amount of time to make those decisions and what that looked like. I mean, you've been around Angler just enough to know that he's a very intricate thinker. His process is very in depth. And so he took his supper out there for about 5 nights in a row and sat in the feed trough. And I don't know how he made his decision, but it was based on however they responded to him having supper with them. And looked like he picked out a couple pretty good ones. So,
Yeah, not a bad approach.
you know,
Let's move from one passion, family, to another shared passion that we have, which is cooking. Now, I didn't realize how much of a chef you were when until actually recently. You cooked for us when we were down there helping Clint get ready for Fort Worth. And I knew that you knew how to cook when you complained about how sharp or lack of sharp the Petzold knives were. You came out to the barn and you made a comment on how all their knives were dull. And that told me two things. One, that Clint and Casey don't cook very much, and that you really do know how to cook because you understand that sharp utensils are one of the most important things. So I got to ask, as a fellow home cook, you got anything special that you got brewing this week, next week, or Easter weekends coming up? Or is there anything special that you're wanting to execute?
so I've kind of made it a tradition on sale night, sale day. We fire up the pit, and I used to do a lot of cooking on a real pit with real wood, and I've become lazy like most people, and I've got the old pellet smoker. It just makes life a lot easier. But I was in town this morning and went by Sam's, picked up 3 racks of spare ribs, got my pork belly to do my pork belly again. It's kind of a go-to for me. And then got some center cut, thick style pork chops that really had some crazy wild marbling in them that I've done before that I'm kind of excited about. So if I buy meat in town, generally pork because we have plenty of beef here. We're always trying to butcher beef or two a year. So yeah, it's ribs and pork belly is the two things that's going to happen on Saturday. We always cook a plenty in case there was to happen to be somebody that wanted to come look at these things, they can have a snack.
In previous episodes, I have shared some cooking tips. Are you willing to share how you do the pork belly? Because it is outstanding.
So it's actually at our Sam's, and I haven't shopped at other Sam's, but they pre-slice it for me there, and it's sliced about a half-inch thick. It looks like extremely thick bacon. And when I first started doing it, I was all into the temperature and all the things and kind of got it down to where I know external temp and timing. So I'm really into seasonings from Meat Church. It's an outfit out of I can't think of just east of Fort Worth.
Isn't it Waxahachie?
Waxahachie, yeah,
Yeah.
he's in Waxahachie. I use a lot of his recipes for stuff, but he's got a seasoning that's kind of an all-purpose deal called the Gospel. It's kind of a sweet sugar-based barbecue rub. Pretty liberal baste them with that, just like lay them out like it's a piece of bacon. And then it's like 225 on that pellet smoker for about an hour and a half. And that old fat starts rendering. And the ones that are closer to the side are probably the ones I like just a little more because I'm a crispy bacon kind of guy. But at times I've taken that Meat Church. He also makes one called Voodoo. And it's pretty much kind of in my description, it's like gospel with some cayenne in it. It's got a little heat. If you're liberal with it, it can be hot. But if you just kind of dust in on top of that gospel, man, it's spot on. And then sometimes I might drizzle a little sauce on there, barbecue sauce of some kind if I've got something that I'm feeling in the mood for. But generally, man, if you buy a whole pork belly and you just slice it like you're slicing bacon, about a half-inch thick, and a decent sized pork belly makes about in the high teens strips, and where 14 to 18 strips, and 225 for about an hour and a half. Then if your pellet grill doesn't cook even, you might switch the ones that are still look like they're not quite crispy with the ones that are crispy if you just want it all even. But I like a few crispy, and then I like a few that are not so crispy. But it's a I don't know that I would call it an entree type of meat. It's more like an appetizer type of meat, but I can eat an entire pork belly if I'm not cautious of it because it's very good.
They were fantastic. They were outstanding. Do you finish them on the grill or?
So what I did at Clint's, I don't have a flat iron. If I got my Blackstone's a little portable deal, and there's times like I did at Clint's that really just renders that fat if you take a flat surface and get it real hot and just spear it on there. It kind of takes it to the next level. But I don't, that's not a standard process every time I cook it. But if it's handy or if it's out there, if we use it, using when we're got garden going in the summer, Carol will leave it out there. We got a cover for it and we'll do vegetables and stuff on it. So if it's out there, I'll fire it up and do that. If not, I'll just come run off the pit and they're still plenty good.
If the cattle, even though the cattle do look exceptionally well, the pork belly's worth the trip up there. You're gonna get two for the price of one because the stock looks good. Before we dive off into them, why don't you quickly tell us about viewing the cattle, what your protocols are there, and then you talked a little bit last time about your service. Just remind the audience kind of what your service parameters are for these cattle so they know what they're getting into.
You bet. So viewing, their cattle are available all daylight hours. Yeah, I like to know that you're coming, but I don't have to be here. We're an open house all the time. They're very easy to look at. Our pens are getting pretty well cleaned out because we start shearing cows for our bred cow sale second week of April. So we're fixing to start moving everything to the house. So it's not like you're going to go look through a bunch of sold cattle. There's two pens of steers. There's 9 head. They're easy to find. It's the only clipped cattle in the place. If you want to reach out to me, let me know you're coming. That's great. If you're not, show up. It'll be fine too. We kind of got some things going on the next 2 days, but Friday morning, I'm going to plan on going back through them all, wash them up, clean them up. I'll try to get a few wet videos like we do on some of them that look like that they might appeal to some people for the 6-year one. So we'll try to be working on them all day Friday and then of course again Saturday. As far as our service policy, like I mentioned on our last sale, if you're looking at, there's a couple of pretty nice Fort Worth options on here. Man, if you're not a part of my existing Fort Worth clientele, I just do not have the bandwidth, the help, all the things to take on any more Fort Worth customers. I'll give you all the knowledge that I have, which I'm not saying is a lot, but as far as just feeding consultant, maybe trying to help you find somebody that can help you at the show, I'm all about it. But if you're buying one of these calves with the intentions of that you think that I'm going to help you in Fort Worth, it's not that's not where my heart is. I just physically I can't do it. I can't get the help, and it's just not where I'm at right now. So I've got more than I can say grace over. We will be at the show. I will cheer you on. Like I said, you've got whatever knowledge you want from me up top, but just as far as the clipping part of it, I've got too many irons in the fire here at home just with farming and the cattle production that we're trying to achieve. And it's just, I don't have clipping help and it's just me. And I mean, just to be blunt, man, I'm kind of aging out. So if that's where your expectations are, please listen to this and know that I want to help you. I'll try to point you in the right direction, but the clipping help is just it's not there like it used to be. So just as far as consulting with feed and just, ideas of running the problems, or we do real good with people sending videos and just be like, man, hey, I think we ought to maybe do this or do that. We've had a lot of success like that. And I'm here for you. Just, there's not a lot of physical help that you're going to get from this outfit this time and age.
Got it. Thank you for that. And if you're ready, let's dive off into them.
Do that.
Lot 1, tag 21B. Tell us about him.
So this red steer, he's the next man up out of a cold-blooded, three-quarter blood Charolais cow. She doesn't really have any club calf in her. She's three-quarter Char, quarter Maine. She's a yellow-hided cow. Man, this thing is good. Like the few visitors that have come since I put this set together, every one of them have pointed out the calf, have landed on the calf. He has a lot of presence. When you're out there in the pen, he has ginormous feet. Like it's one of the biggest footed calves that's come through the pens this year. Plenty of muscle, like very, very, very stout, just wide, pulled apart. Got a good look to him. He actually had really nice hair. As a baby calf, it was very, TH textured. I'm not saying that he's like the most perfect Fort Worth candidate. I'd call him a awesome sheer and red cross. But if you had to have like a haired county option or something like that, this calf fits that. As far as like size, he's a 1st of August calf. I see this calf being a heavyweight type of calf come Houston time. It looks like to me he could have maturity enough to be competitive. And San Antonio probably just sits at the top end of that middleweight deal. He is dense. He's very functional. There's a lot of product, a lot of body, a lot of bone, and just humongous feet. So I like this calf a great deal. The reds, it seems like we always start off the year with a lot of nice reds when you go the first few shows, and man, you get to the majors and it's kind of like, man, where did they go? But I feel like this calf is one that will stand out now, and he will also stand out when it comes to the end.
Real Husky he is really long necked, like flat shouldered, long neck.
There's a lot of quality here.
Pretty nice calf. And we're going from one nice one to the next nice one. Lot 2 is a shorthorn. He had a great shorthorn on the last sale, and it looks like there's a pattern emerging because this one looks really nice too.
Yeah, I favor this calf quite a bit. He's got feet and legs like the one we sold on that last sale. We all know that when we get into these shorthorn colored ones and they're heavy influenced on the shorthorn blood, we can start getting some more upright angles and just coarser joints and things like that. And this one's the opposite of that. He is a just really clean, smooth jointed, round bone, big footed one that moves exceptionally well. The calf does have nice hair. I think that he's a better shear option. I do believe he's probably clean, but he has really nice hair. I think the upside potential on this calf is very, very, very high. Definitely Houston would be his best day just for time and maturity and get there. He's still a little bit on the green side, but you can see when he moved, just the crease in his stifle and his rear end. The calf's got back shape, just pin width. I truly believe this calf in an aggressive feeding home that knows how to get one tuned up for a slick shear show. This calf could be a hammer. He's got all the things and the features that I like and want to just feed on, that it looks like, man, this thing holds up and can run the race.
Yeah, I'm a big fan there. Moving on to lot 3, tag 97, a blue one, Real Husky. Tell us about him.
Yeah, if Addie was judging the show, I'm just going to tell you, I'll bring her blue one and you win. She's the biggest blue lover I've ever seen, and so I had to give her a little shout out there. But this blue one's good. If you're a fan of blues, you're going to like this one. I think that he stays a lightweight calf, but dense, boxy, big bones, stout when you get behind him. He is very, very easy to like. You do not miss or walk by this calf. There's a lot of wow factor, just a lot of presence, and unbelievable hair. So his mother would be a actual flush mate to the steer that Addie was reserve granted Phoenix with, I think maybe in 21.
Awesome. Moving on to lot 4, a polled Hereford. You had a really good Rockin' El Ruby in the last sale. You got another one here. I don't know nothing about Herefords, but I think this is a very high quality animal. What do we need to know here?
So this is a very high quality animal. Ruby is the EasyJet donor of my aunt's that's just been knocking it out of the park. She raised a reserve grand this year at Fort Worth that Drager showed. And then also we had second in the middles that was a flush mate. This was one of the steers that I put in the pen for angler to pick out. And although I favored this one quite a bit, this isn't the one he picked. But here's what I'll tell you. If you're still hunting a Fort Worth calf that can flat out get it on, this guy can do it. He's a September but I project him probably to be a heavy. If I miss that, there's nothing wrong with being a middle, but I just, it looks like to me he could be a heavy. Unbelievable hair texture, as you could see. Really, really, really good in his movement. Plenty of muscle. There is definitely a shearing option here, but I do not think he will ever see another day after Fort Worth. I can't say enough good things about this calf. This is a very, very high quality Old Hereford Fort Worth steer that has an attitude for a first time kid.
Yeah, I hate to talk trash on your 10-year-old Adam, but I think Angler might have misfired a little bit here. I
Well,
like
you
this.
can't say that he did too bad because his first outing, he come home with plenty of trinkets. So
Yeah, that is
I'm not
true.
gonna,
That
I'm
is
not gonna
true.
say,
You're
you
right.
know, the all four of them that we put in there, they were all quality, and I think this one's pretty dead gum good.
Yeah, he looks like he's pretty awesome. And the same can be said for lot 5. I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but another really nice calf. What do we need to know here?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Ferris, this sales is just, we're few in numbers, but the quality is deep and no different with this calf. He's an end guy, he may be. Kevin Heath actually raised this calf. Kevin sends me a set of falls every year. His mother would be a MAB, no free rides. The no free rides cow would have raised champion Charlotte at San Antonio a few years ago. We sold a tried load of end gods out of her that's done plenty of winning. When he did her the no free rides to MAB, we had 2 yellow white paint steers that year that the Patchkey family showed one and the Wall family showed one. Had a lot of success throughout the year. So this one's mother would be a flush mate to those 2 steers. Dense, lots of muscle. This is a very high quality slick shearing calf. He's going to get there in the end. He'll be a 1,400 plus pound market steer. Good bone, no fluid on his joints. He's got good feet. He ain't got jacked up toes. A lot of quality. Just stout skull. I mean, he's really pulled apart. When you get on top of this thing, he's wide. He don't only have a big booty. Like when you look over the top of his blades, he's pulled apart and carries it all the way back through his rib cage. Just a very good slick shearing calf.
Yeah, the first time when I flipped through him and I clicked on this video, he just looks like an awesome fat steer.
He is.
Just
You nailed it.
feed him. Lot 6, another perfection. Tell us about this paint steer.
So this was actually results of an embryo purchase from Tom Farr. I don't know a lot about that 9103 cow, but when this one was born, I reached out to Taylor and just said, "Hey, what is this?" And he list of 6-page things of sibs to this one. This calf is built incredible. I do want to make aware that there's a little thing going on with this animal, and it's the reason that I didn't put him in that first sale. I couldn't tell what it was. I've reached out to a few vets, but right where, like, if a calf tears his stifle, where he gets a knot right there on both sides, he's got these. They're bigger than a golf ball, but they just have fluid in them. It's not a torn stifle. It's just fluid. A few guys that I've talked to said they're seeing some of this show up and calling it maybe some type of OCD. It does not affect his movement at all. But obviously, he's built to shear. When you shear him, he's got these little balls right there, up in the where it's usually where you'd see a torn stifle where they knot up right there. That's where it's at. But it's just like it jiggles. It just has fluid in it. So I get it that it kind of kills the momentum on the calf, but I don't. It needs to be talked about because the quality of the calf is substantial. He's built like a breed champion. He has the parts and pieces. Anybody that thinks purebred shorthorns don't have muscle, I encourage you to go look at some of Farr's stuff. This is one of the absolute stoutest animals on the sale. Rip back, huge wide pen. I'm talking about a stout sucker. The issue of the little knots, you can see it in this video when he moves. If it boogers you, hey, don't bid. I understand it's going to keep the calf from probably reaching his full potential and value, but there's too much good for somebody not to try him. Sound, just like I said, he's a unbelievably built calf with a little bit of issue there that I don't know if it's fixable. I don't know if it's not fixable. I didn't want to do a bunch of investigating and get a bunch wrapped up in it and be needing to get on with my cow sales. So we're putting him on here. It is what it is. He's selling as he is. I think if somebody wanted to try to see if they could get some of that fluid off, I think that there's a chance right here this calf might take a backdrop picture somewhere.
Moving on to lot 7, tag 1835. Here's one that made me happy that I bought some King of Kings semen this week.
So this calf, we showed a full brother to him at Fort Worth this year. He was fourth in class 5. I would say this one's built extremely similar as far as his outline and bone and hair, but he's quite a bit more massive in just sheer power. I still think he stays right there in like that class 5 realm with as much muscle. I think he gets out of Division 1, and there's nothing wrong with that class 5 or 6. I feel extremely confident that if you know how to take care of cattle and you're a family that has success at Fort Worth, man, I really feel like this calf is a cell maker at Fort Worth, and probably sets more towards the top of the class than he does one of them bottom holes. Just humongous legs, humongous feet, crazy hair, just very, very flexible. When you get behind him, you're just like, whoa. I mean, there's a lot of animal there. He's not a little bitty one. I just know how that last one grew, and his mother. We've had a lot of success out of his mom. Her cattle they're not big growy ones. They always get to a nice end point, but just the way I read this one, I think a middleweight at Fort Worth, but I feel extremely confident in the quality of this calf and what our Fort Worth evaluator was drawn to. He's got those kind of legs. He's got those kind of features. He is a very, very high quality individual.
Moving on to lot 8. Here's a full sib to some of your sale highlights in your October sale or November sale, I think it was. There was a
Yep.
bunch of really nice cattle out of the 744 cow. Tell us about lot 8, tag 1917.
You bet. So yeah, this the 744 maternal maid, man, she has absolutely knocked it out of the park for us. It doesn't matter sire, it's she's knocked it out of the park. But these NWOs have been very fun to watch grow and just watch how they mature. The one that the Lautner family purchased at our October sale, they've had a ton of success with. A calf that's kind of getting recognition all over the country. I love this calf. He's different in a lot of ways than the brother that they are showing. He probably doesn't have some of the extras just in terms of crazy wild bone and just crazy wild hair. But this calf is bad to the bone. Like when you get this calf up in my barn and you tie him up, I don't care who you are, what your type and kind are, you go, man, that is a good calf. I'll tell you this, for whatever reason, when you're in the pen with him, you have to read into him to really get a feel for how good the calf is. And it's not that he doesn't have pizzazz or carry himself good out there. His mobility is awesome, man. The way he plants his hind leg and the set and his angles, everything's good. But it's when you get this thing on a halter, he comes alive, and you're just like, dude, that thing is incredible. The calf is smooth pole, okay, and he has the right pole and the right brow and the right muzzle to make a Texas Angus. For me, his ears are a little bit erect. They just kind of radar ear up there a little bit. I would be a little bit nervous about just saying, hey man, this is a Texas Angus. I'll tell you this calf is good enough and is the quality to go make the sale as a middleweight at Fort Worth. I would say more of an upside for this calf is shearing him as a black cross. I mean, this thing is loaded with power. Just the structural integrity is unbelievable. But I'll tell you where I think that he probably hangs a banner. And I'm not an OYE person and don't have any Oklahoma customers. Any cattle I've ever sent there go through traders. But if you are looking for a breed contender at OYE, I mean, I encourage you to check this thing out because he is bad to the bone. It's worth coming to look at him and taking the time to push him up under the barn and tie him up because he comes to life and he makes you just go, oh, wow, this thing's bad to the bone. So good calf that I'm really excited about.
I would tend to agree. And rounding out the live lots, we have lot 9, tag 2917.
Yeah, so this same cow is that white King of Kings, but this one's out of Gotcha. We had a litter of these in our September round that were very popular. There was all different colors and just a really fun scent. This guy's a lightweight. Always looks like to me he's going to be a lightweight, but man, he is fun to look at. He's as wide as he is tall, crazy wild hair, cool color. I'm just encouraged the buyer, whoever buys him, feed him for a lightweight because that's what he is. I see him being probably a class 2 or 3 at Fort Worth, or being a lightweight, no matter what shear and show you take him to. But man, is the quality there. He's big legged, wide pin, just a lot of shape and expression down his back and through his rump. Got a cool look to him and cool colored. So a calf I think that somebody's going to have a lot of fun and success with.
And moving in, you have a handful of semen lots on a bull that I think is new. You're releasing him here. Is this
That's correct.
okay?
So, cow partner Mike Keith Miller out of Grandview, he and I we bought this bull from Mike Mims at Mims's deal last year, just looking for a new low birth weight option. Got turned on to the bull, and it was just like, hey, I think this is gonna work. And Michael and Sarah was one that kind of pointed the bull out to me and was talking about his 51-pound birth weight. And just when I started digging into it and looking at his pedigree and just with the short horns at Miller's and just looking for another low birth weight option, especially to be TH clean, it was like, hey, this is a no brainer. And I actually and Kevin a set of heifers. So we've had him a year. I'm Kevin a set of heifers right now. I pulled out 8 and bred to him, just hand bred them, natural service, covered them all. And we just had the first one unassisted, like wild looking. It's actually out of an American heifer, and she's a little black heifer with white sheath, got all kinds of crazy character, big hair. And the heifer she's out of is clean, but come unassisted. Look, I didn't weigh her. It looked like she weighed in the 60s. Just a lot of vigor. It kind of gets me fired up. The other 7 that are going to calve are shorthorn based and a lot of reds. So really excited about it. We've been collecting on him. Miller's group at his house are all that are going to be in the revival sale are all going to be bred to this bull. And so we got us a nice bank of semen put up and got him into production and going to have some proof here pretty quick. And so it was time to kind of introduce him and throw him out here. This thing is wild looking. I mean, he is wild looking, wild neck, huge muscles, got the trendy, squishy leg. I mean, all the things, yes, he is moderate in his kind. He reminds me a lot of Size Matters with a little more style and a little more class. Size Matters was about this size and had the crazy muscle like this. I think this one's bone is probably just a pinch better than what Size Matters was, but I'm really, really excited about this bull. I think he works in a lot of different places. Obviously looking for something on these short horns or maybe even just colored stuff to keep some fun color and things going out there. We're excited about him, whether the general public wants to use him or not. We're excited about him for our own use, excited about, offering heifers in the revival sale to just have offspring that's going to make our clientele happy and then probably have some resale value on the calves. So yeah, we're happy to introduce him on this sale and just get him out there, and we'll continue to promote and push. And as we get babies on the ground, maybe try to throw some stuff up on some of our social media platforms just to share the story of how it's going.
Well, we're on the subject of bulls. Another bull that you released, I think it's been about a year ago now. Blessed Assurance. He's a red How Great son that's DS clean. I've heard good things about the bull. I saw him in person. I thought he was really impressive. The cow family behind him is really good. Can you tell us a little bit about that bull while we're on the subject of bulls?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll just kind of tell the story of the bull. That way anybody's listening that has had some interest or something, you just kind of understand how we got to where we got. Let's just back up on cow family of the bull. I mentioned cow partner Keith Miller. He actually raised the mother to Blessed Assurance, one of his foundation cows, 848. She's a cold-blooded cow. She's half Shar, half Angus. She's a Luton Shar. We have flushed her to pretty much, she's out of production now, still alive, but out of production. We've done her to pretty much every club calf bull that was on the market and never really knocked it out of the park with a show steer. But I would, this number is going to sound high, but I feel confident that we're close to it. I would say there's probably somewhere between 30 and 40 donor cows across the country that are direct 848 daughters out of all kinds of various sires. She flushed great, would make 20 something eggs every time. And just for whatever reason, they were both for females. She was never IVF, just always conventional flush, conventional semen. So a lot of females on the 848 cow out there. We did her to Moonlight the year that Moonlight come out, and had a really cool. On their all heifers, didn't have any bull calves. Had some. They were wild color. She just was a gray cow, but threw a lot of color. Had some black and white, some gray and whites, just some really cool stuff. The first year that we had the revival cow sale, that we took it down to Caldwell, Miller and I got together, and he said, "Hey, if we're not currently flushing cows, let's go ahead and just sell everything, and we're just going to focus on our ET production." Absolutely. So Blessed Assurance Mother was hauled down to that sale. She kind of looked like a feature. She's black and white. She's triple clean. Cromwell's hit me up. Hey, what about that cow, man? Yeah, she had never had an AI calf at the time, and was bred to my half Bromby bull, High Cotton. So there wasn't a lot of production history on her. So they buy her, and then just through gut feeling, I guess, I reached out and said, "Hey, man, can I buy half that cow back?" So I bought back into her, and she had her first calf. We AI'd her right back to In God. Man, she spit out a beautiful yellow calf down there at Roberts and Giddings. Brent brought the calf up to me. We just talked about how we were going to market him. And Dos Torres come by, wanted the calf for his sister. Calf brings 15,000. They went a few shows with him. He winds up fifth in class 3, I believe it was. After she had that calf, we took her to Transova. We flushed her again to In God, and then or IVF her to In God, and then IVF her to How Great. Brent put his in, I put mine in. I got Blessed Assurance and a few In Gods, and maybe there's a heifer I got that's a mate to Blessed Assurance. Last year on Brent's sale, all the In God 45s and the How Great 45s, that would all be either SIBs of Blessed Assurance or maternal SIBs of Blessed Assurance, and he had a tremendous amount of success with. I know one of the In Gods was 4th in the heavy shars at Houston. I know there was a black Sib to Blessed Assurance that was 2nd in the black crosses at Angelo. So just a lot of generating power in there. Okay, so let's go just to Blessed Assurance Mama. It's black and white, beautiful looking cow. She's in between, I would say, frame scores like in between moderate and big. She's right there where I call a perfect size cow. Just beautiful in the way that she's made up, very elegant, very smooth, very good on the move. Looks like to me, yeah, breed her to whatever you want to, get good calves. Obviously, that's where we've been. So the calf was born. I remember it plain as day. It was a Sunday morning. Kara and I was checking receipt before we head to church, pulled up, and it was like, "Hey, I'm not real sure, but I think that might be the best calf we've ever raised." I sent a little video to Brent. He's like, "Yeah, it looks good." The calf from day one, he never, ever has had a bad day. I mean, never. He's never taken a bad step. He's never given you a bad look. He's never done anything that made you question that he is bad to the bone. And so the thought started coming up of leaving him a bull. Man, I've never left my best calf a bull, because I was always having to fight to pay my bills. Got to cash in, got to cash in. And I was blessed with a healthy bull crop that year. And it was like, hey, I think I can leave this thing a bull. Well, then it was like, man, I need some help promoting this thing. I think I'm going to sell half of him. So I toyed with that a little bit, and then committed that, man, I'm just going to put him in my steer bid off. I'm going to sell 50% interest in the bull. Semen interest, 50% semen interest alone. Got his test results back. He's TH only, PHA free, DS free. Had some of the right guys show up I was excited to have any of them as a partner. I mean, I literally would have been ecstatic to have any of them as a partner, and they would have done a great job promoting. But all things, in my opinion, are meant to be, and how it lands up. Colton Thigpen's the winning bidder, and so he becomes my partner. The bull brings a very healthy amount of money, and so just protecting Colton and his investment, I said, "Hey, I'm going to let you drive the bus on this semen selling. You're in the business. That's what you do. I'm going to be the cheerleader, and whatever you need from me, I will provide." And so that's where we're at today. He's handled the promotions and the semen sales accordingly. I think now that we've got our semen bank of where he was comfortable with it before we just started promoting, we've got our mature picture that's out there now. That happened about a month ago. I've got the bull shucked back out and in good shape. I'm actually taking him back up to Bonanza tomorrow in Stillwater. There has not been a person that has looked at him that has not said, wow. I mean, he's an incredible beast, and time will tell whether he's going to generate, but I'm just telling you, I feel it in my gut. The bull's going to generate it. He's got it on all sides of the pedigree, plus just compositionally to the eye. It's like, wow, that's an incredible beast. I kind of rambled a lot there, but I'm excited about the bull. I'm ready to start promoting and pumping. I'm not real good at that. I'm not on social media platforms, but I feel like maybe I need to turn them back on just to push my bull a little bit. People have called and said, how do you breed him? And this is what I tell, like, especially some of the Midwest guys or the Northern guys that's called me. I was like, breed him like he's a black bull. Don't breed him just because he's a red to a colored cow just to get a colored calf. Yes, there's going to be plenty of that happens, but breed him like he's a black bull. Like breed him to some of your best black cows. I mean, the thing, his hair was dripping off of him. He's built like what we want him to be built like, in my opinion. I think the bull is going to stick around for a while if my gut becomes correct. I think he's what we've needed in some areas just to fix some things and get some added benefits and longevity and still not sacrifice just width and power and punch and look. I'm excited about him. Thank you for bringing it up. Shameless plug to the bull on the pod, but I'm pumped.
Thanks. And if the audience can't tell, you really like the bull.
Yep.
And let it rip. So if they want to see him in the near future, they can go up to Stillwater Bonanza and peck around and see him there, I guess it sounds
Correct.
like.
And Colton likes him as much as me and give him the very first pin right by the office, and you can't miss him.
Yeah. That's as big of a statement as anything. He's not hit out back in one of the runs out.
No, we want people to see him.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close out today?
Man, just reach out if you got any questions on these sale lots. This time of year, sometimes the online platform gets used to clean out pens. That is not the case on this set of cattle. I'll be the first to admit I've been guilty of it a time or two in my life. That is not the case here. These cattle were set back for this sale. I'm very, very, very excited about them. There's quality from lot 1 to lot 9. I made no specific sale order. I just went in numerical order of what their tags were. I like them all. I feel comfortable with them. I told myself with just prices, market prices of cattle and just all the things and how tough this industry is to have success, that I wasn't going to mess with the cattle or pull them up in my lots and offer them to the general public if I wasn't confident down deep inside that I feel like I can make these calves make the sale at a major show in Texas. And I feel that way about every one of them. So I encourage you, if you're out and about, there's lots of sales going on this weekend. If you're out and about, swing by. It will not be a waste of your time.
Well, Adam, thanks again. Pot Show Cattle, Fallhorn Steer Sale Saturday, April 4th, coming up quick on SC Online Sales. Good luck on the sale. Thanks for coming back on, and thanks for sharing all the non-cattle related stuff today. That was quite a bit of fun.
You bet, man. Ferris, thanks for what you're doing too, man.
You bet.